and welcome back to the Mindful Dose channel. This is another Lunar Talks episode. We skipped the Gemini new moon. I recorded it, I did everything, but it was such a time-sensitive lunation, I felt, and by the time I came around to editing, I just decided not to upload it. So I apologize for that, but maybe I'll upload it just for the record and reflect on it for the full moon in Gemini later this year. Anyway, we're back with the full moon in Capricorn. This full moon in Capricorn is happening on June 29th, 2026 at 7:55 p.m. Eastern Time. What's interesting is that on my end, the rising sign for the lunation is in Capricorn, so the full moon is in the first house. And I will go over the details of the chart with you in a moment. Before I do, I want to introduce myself to anyone who's new here. My name is Adriana. I'm the founder of Mindful Dose, which is a wellness business that encompasses the insights of astrology in everyday life. I started these Lunar Talks a while ago. I can't remember, but it's been going for quite some time with the intention of me teaching you guys a little bit about the language of astrology. The new moons and the full moons happen every month, so it's something that is tangible and consistent to keep up with. And I feel like that's a great way to get started on learning astrology, learning how to speak the language of astrology, and understanding when astrologers are presenting a forecast to you. Think of it like I'm your weather woman for the astrology. With that being said, I am currently getting trained as a traditional Hellenistic astrologer. And in that format, we use whole sign houses and we talk about the visible planets in the sky. I'm not 100% traditional, but most of my work is through that traditional lens. I also do tarot, and when I remember, I will draw a card for the lunation. This time today, I have the cards right in front of me, so I'll work on that. But typically, these lunar talks are just a way for us to get together and work with the lunar energy, as well as just learning and getting familiar with astrology, because I think it's like fascinating to know what your astrology is and work with that and apply it to these lunations. Okay, so with that being said, the Capricorn full moon is happening on June 29th, and that is a very special day, and only a few hours later, the energy in the sky shifts for the next year, and that is Jupiter will be moving into Leo, leaving its exalted sign of Cancer. When a planet is exalted, the planet is thriving and it's doing its best work through that zodiacal perspective. Jupiter has done a lot of work on a personal scale, but also on a global scale with it being in Cancer. So it won't be in Cancer in its exalted sign for another 12 years. And yeah, this period that Jupiter was in Cancer was a very special time for us. It will now move into Leo, which will just be another vibe shift for the year. We'll get into that. I will definitely get into that in my Substack linked below, where I provide you also with tarot readings. I'm aiming to put in a little more articles to help you familiarize yourself with the language of astrology. So at this point, I'm hoping to have a blog post on Jupiter in Leo to give you the rundown of its journey through Jupiter's journey through Leo for the next year, and what kind of obstacles it will come across and what kind of support it will provide. And so subscribe to the Substack, because that's another way that you can learn more about astrology. Okay, so let's take a look at the chart. Okay, so the program I'm using is Astrotheros. I really like this program for its aesthetics, but also for the way it functions. So I'm going to highlight the lunation right here, and you will see where I'm located on the East Coast. The rising sign is at 0 degrees of Capricorn. So it's at the very beginning And I'm going to interpret this lunar talks through that lens for just a moment. I won't dwell too much on the houses or the ascendant itself afterwards, just because I want I want just the general understanding of the lunation in case you are not located in the on the East Coast. But very interesting that it's the ascendant is at 0 degrees of Capricorn. One of the keywords that I have for this lunation or key phrase is that this is the last song. I don't know why it's like that. It just came to me, but it has something to do with definitely Jupiter leaving Capricorn, leaving Cancer for the next 12 years, and having Mercury also in the sign of Cancer during this lunation. So it has something to do with, I think, like the artistry behind using your words, and the support to be able to get a message across. The full moon in Capricorn and the sun in Cancer, they're both at 8 degrees in their own sign. And this is happening later in the evening, and then a few hours later, Jupiter will move into Leo. So the energy that this lunation holds is the beginning, with this ascendant at 0 degrees, and an ending with the Jupiter at 29 degrees, ready to take its final step in Cancer. So this is giving a beginning and an ending kind of situation. The full moon is also a reflection point of the journey that started 6 months ago under the new moon in Capricorn. And at a full moon, it's a good time to reassess what you have going on, what is working, what isn't, so that you can release what worked for the previous 6 months and what would work better for the next 6 months, to mark this journey around the sun. The full moon in Capricorn is ruled by Saturn on the moon's end, and Saturn is in Aries. Saturn has been coming up quite a lot, I feel, in my lunar talks. So it's a continuation of everything we have been working on with Saturn related and involved. At this point, I feel like this is the last for a while. This is the last opportunity relating to care and support for the structure that we're building. Because once Jupiter moves out of Cancer, which has been at a square aspect to Saturn, Jupiter will now be in a position, instead of like challenging and kind of like humbling and resetting Saturn, and instead Jupiter will now provide support and like cheering it on and just like encouraging the momentum to like roll stronger. Leo and Aries are both fire signs, and Leo will stay put and just be at that one spot by Saturn's side, if that makes any sense, energetically speaking. So definitely immediately after this lunation, that type of support coming from the Leo sector of our chart will be very strong, because Venus, the second benefic of the sky, is also in Leo. So Jupiter and Venus will be together. Again, they were just together a few weeks ago, making one of the most auspicious aspects of the year. And now will come together, not as tightly, not as closely, but they'll come together under the same sign for the next for the near future. And so the Saturn right now, the Saturn ruled lunation, is under the lens of this supportive and encouraging energy. They're both Capricorn and Cancer. They're the ones that take action. They don't sit back and wait for things to happen. They support Aries in that way of putting things forward and getting things started. So this is a continuation of a beginning, but it is the end of this weird reassessment and readjustment period that I feel like we've been going through for the first half of the year. And this next half of the year is now applying everything we've kind of honed in on. So I'm actually going to readjust the chart so it has just an Aries rising. Just so you can see, the lunation is on the 4th and the 10th axis. And yeah, it is making a closer aspect to Neptune. It's slightly separating from Neptune and Aries. Neptune is the daydreamer of the sky. It brings in lots of ideas and a lot of like airy fairy idealism to the way we see the world. And Neptune and Saturn had made a conjunction earlier in the year. So earlier in the year, we had like this idea and this almost illusion, and Saturn was there kind of trying to clear the fog by like opening up the windows and, you know, getting energy moving so that you can see things a little bit clearer. So this conjunction is separating. They will fluctuate, like getting closer and further because of retrogrades and such. But so this lunation is bringing attention closer to that daydreaming aspect. So it's a good time to also reflect on the reality of what is possible and what isn't. It almost takes me back to like March. So this lunation may encourage reflection from that time period because these two planets are being triggered by the lunation. And in its most recent pattern together, they made a conjunction that was quite profound in the journey that they're going to take. So just something to think about and something to reflect on through your photos, through your calendar appointments, or whatever form of method you track time. And yeah, like I said, the luckiest placement in the sky is going to be exiting Cancer just 5 hours after the lunation, and then we'll hang out with the other lucky planet in the sky. And they will just be giving more support. It's like putting more pep into Saturn's step. A more like supportive role to keep things going. For this lunation, I would recommend taking some time to think about what are some last things you need to do to get things moving, to get things started. It's not so much about coming up with a new innovative idea, unless that is something that you've been planning on. But if you've already kind of planned things out, it could be more about getting that fire started, supporting it, providing it the proper shelter, you know, whatever that thing may be, just getting that ball rolling, because soon after the energy shifts. So that another reason why I'm doing this lunation a little bit earlier than normal is because shortly after the lunation, the energy in the sky shifts. Best to work with this lunation in the days leading before it, but no sweat if you're getting to this after the lunation. Just know that energy is just a little bit different because of mostly because of Jupiter, the big planet, providing a source of inspiration and opportunity. It's with the sun during this lunation, so by being supported through the sun, Jupiter is emphasizing all of the love and care that will go into whatever project you're trying to get started, or whatever fire you're trying to start. So I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to use the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. Okay, and I got 2 cards. I love when the tarot decks give me a little bit more when I'm asking for one thing. They give me 2. All right, so we have 8 of Wands, and we have the King of Swords. Eight of Wands and the King of Swords. Yeah, the King of Swords makes me think of the Saturn in Aries aspect, and that being like the ruler of the moon during this lunation. And the Eight of Wands is Saturn in Aries. So there's like this get down, get serious about everything that you're doing and all the action that you're taking. Aries is Mars ruled, so it's influenced by the motivation to do something and fight for that belief or for that passion. And so the King of Swords and the Eight of Wands as this lunation, I feel it to be very action oriented and something that brings alignment to the mental sphere. I was just doing a vlog where I talked about the koshas and yoga and all these spheres of energy, these sheaths of energy. I would refer back to that vlog so that you can understand maybe what I'm trying to explain here is that through this mental sphere, I feel like we will, with the clarity and the discipline it takes to get all of these ducks in a row, would be like the best result of the best way to utilize this lunation. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will be back for the new moon Cancer. The Lunar Talks episodes will continue to grow. I'm posting vlogs now on the video that will also show you how to use the tarot cards or how I use the tarot cards to give you a little bit of learning experience. If you want to support me in any way, you can follow me. You can subscribe to my newsletter. I do have tarot readings for sale right now. If you check out with the word Lucky June, I'm going to be extending that sale. So keep in touch so that you know when the sales are on and off. My astrology readings are available as well, and they will be at a very discounted rate for the end of the year through to the end of the year. So take advantage of these deals. Your support means a lot to me in that way, or even just watching, liking, sharing, following along. And yeah, thank you guys so much. So much gratitude. So I'll catch you guys next time.